Good morning to all. Today we are going to start our next part of chapter number 10. So from till here we have completed this chapter in the first part of the video. So this is the second part of this chapter number 10. Next day when they visit to the court, the concrete two men and women were waiting their turn to die at 3 o'clock. There was Charles Darnay who was standing alone in the cell and he was too going to die. There was something he could not stop that at time. 1 hour they would come to nearby them and he would be put into the cart and taken through the streets to the waiting Plutino. He sat on a little table in the dark cell and taking paper and pen and writing short letters to Lucy and Dr. Manetti and Mr. Lorry. This was the just he has finished in their letter. The door of his cell opened and he had heard a voice in English. He has never seen me. Go in alone. I will wait here. Charles Darnay was shocked and turned into the curtain, walking towards him. Before the time he could speak, Sidney put a finger on his lips and Darnay could not believe on his eyes. What on earth are you doing here? We have no time to say anything. Take off your boots and put on mine. Put on my coat and let your hair loose like mine. My dear Carton, what is the meaning of all these things? Don't ask me any kind of question because we don't have time to lose. When they are exchanged clothes, Sidney turned to the Charles and Charles turns to the Sidney. Now I want you to write something for me. I will dedicate. Ready? Write if remember. Charles began to write. Have you written that? Yes, but there is no answer after that. If you remember the words that passed between a long time ago, you are going to understand when you see this letter. I'm thankful that the time has come when I can prove everything. As he spoke, with his eyes fixed on the writer, Carton hand moved very slowly and swiftly with the closed Charles' face, passing a handkerchief. As you can see in this image, how Charles put handkerchief on his mouth. And what is that smell, Carton? Charles struggled for a second to remain upright, and before he collapsed, Carton caught him around the waist. Come in, Carton called to the Barsad, the spy. Take him out the way we came in. Quickly, he said hurriedly. When he need to come outside as the way he came, get assistance and get him to the carriage. Tell the driver to take him back to the same address. If anyone should ask you about him, say that I was faint when I came in. My condition wasn't. You swear not to betray me. I will be true to that. 15 minutes later, the cell opened. Here, door is started open. Everybody follows him. Here, the guard took the city to the cart and others who were about the face the Glitino. They sat beside the young woman and citizen Evermonde. I heard, ever you feel free? I was, but I was taken again and contempt. The girl's eyes widened in astonishment. It was shining, sparkling, and Carton put her finger on her lips. You are dying for him and his wife and child. Hush now. They are going to run from there. May I hold your hand, brave stranger? Yes, my poor sister. To the last. As Carton drew the closer to his fate, a coach has reached the first barrier out of Paris. Then the guard opened the door and looked into the paper and shouted. Mr. Lorry handed all the papers to the guard who inspected them one by one. When the guard was satisfied with all the papers, Mr. Lorry said, May we pass? Yes, guard replied, you may pass from here. Earlier that afternoon, Mr. Lorry had arranged with Miss Pross and Cherry Cruncher to take separate route out of the city. They are moving from one place to another, but separately, not with one another. Jerry hired a carriage and waited at the cathedral for Miss Pross, who had remained at the house to pack their belongings. Now, Madame Defarge on her way to the house to make sure that Lucy and their child was not escaped, little knowing that they had already fled. Because she was met at door and by Miss Pross and demanding to see the wife of Evermonde, pushed her way inside. At that time, Miss Pross had no intention of letting her proceed further into the house. Ma'am Defarge started shouting, citizen doctor, wife of Evermonde. Anyone but this miserable fool here answer me. There is no reply she received from anyone, and she rushed to the another room and Miss Pross anticipated and moved to the blocked way. She knew Madame Defarge had discovered them missing. Now, Red Cap would be sent immediately to capture them. Madame Defarge cried to push her aside, shouting. As Miss Pross grabbed her by the waist, a sudden loud explosion demanded to the struggle. Madame Defarge fell to the floor and her victorious mission ruined by the accidental firing, which was on her pistol. Panicking, she was in tension, and red-handed woman could think only of escaping, and quickly it is possible. She pulled the lifeless figure under the different table and ran out of the door, stopping only a small bag which she is having a precious belonging. When Jerry saw coming towards something that is terribly wrong, he helped her into the carriage and put her beside them. At that time she weakly, I can hear nothing. Indeed, she could not blast the pistol, left her stone deaf for the rest of life. In front of La Glitino, which had already served 22 hands that a day, some women were knitting. Madame Defarge was noticeably absent. Disposed to be, Evermonde stood in the line with the others waiting their turns. Beside him, he was the frightened girl whose hand was Carton is holding by their journey to the concrete. Thank you, brave stranger, just stay by me. Carton was still concerned that he might be discovered at the route. Those in front of he rolled. That hand she did not able to discover, and thought flashed into the in front of him. Here we can see how he is trying to be judging. I see a beautiful city that is struggling to be free, but in her struggle I see such a terrible evil. Now I see Lucy and her husband and a little Lucy on their way safely. I see them happily life. They are living in England and having another child, that is a boy, and the name of boy is I hear the Lucy telling my story in gentle loving voice. Okay, boy called by my name, and I hear Lucy telling him story, all these things in a loving voice. So it is a far better than I have ever done. As the line in front of grew steadily shorter, it seemed with every breath he took another had rolled. Young companion was suddenly wrenched from his hold. She did not fear, she did not have any fear, she did not cry. Then he left an arm pulled him away, then pushed into the slot where the blade would fall. Okay, this is all about this chapter. What we have done in this chapter, that is Carton keeps his promise. Thank you. Have a good day.